Guys, with that down, let's move on to our second main topic today. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Stephen Marchant, who writes, "Hey, John, thanks to your recommendation, I watched Paul Feig's A Simple Favor. I love that movie, and I loved it. Wondering if you heard his next project was going to be for Netflix with an adaptation of the School for Good and Evil books. What are your thoughts?" All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, Paul Feig, listen, unfortunately for Paul, when people hear Paul Feig's name, in some circles, the first place they go to is the 2016, I think it was 16, version of Ghostbusters that he did. That's unfortunate because he's made some really good, funny, successful films, whether you're talking about Heat or Spy, particularly Bridesmaids, and the one you just mentioned, A Simple Favor with Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively and Henry Golding, by the way, is so good. It's just one of those charmer movies that nobody paid attention to. It quietly came in. It was remarkable, and then it quietly slipped away. But it is fantastic. But yep, he just signed up for his next deal, and it's going to be with Netflix. This is coming to us from Variety. Feig, whose credits include Bridesmaids and A Simple Favor, will direct from a script by David McGee, who wrote Life of Pi, so that's pretty good collaboration, and Laura Solon. The book follows the adventures of best friends Sophie and Agatha at the School for Good and Evil, where ordinary boys and girls are trained to be fairy tale heroes and villains. Sophie has princess aspirations and expects to be picked for the School for Good, and Agatha seems a natural fit for the villains in the School for Evil. Yet soon the girls find their fortunes reversed and putting their friendship to a test. Rob, I really like Paul Feig a lot. This sounds stupid. And now granted, let me throw a caveat in there with that. This is clearly, I have never even heard, just full disclosure, I've never even heard of the School for Good and Evil. I've never even heard of it before. This is clearly not something that I am the target demographic for. I mean that's clear. So clearly this is not material that is made to design to me. So for me to sit here and say that sounds dumb, well, it's because it's not made for me. It's not made for I'm not the target audience. Clearly the books have had some success. I will say this though, especially after, I loved Bridesmaids. I love what he did with Spy with Jason Statham and Melissa McCarthy. Listen, I like this director, and if he's going to do it, I will give this movie a shot when it comes out. I'm just saying for now, it's clearly not targeted at me as the demographic, so I don't have a lot of interest in it at this moment. But Rob, it is still an interesting fit and going straight to Netflix, which is becoming a common thing. But what do you think about this particular project and Paul Feig's attachment to it?
Well, I mean, look, fairy tale legacies go to school. So it's, I guess, the kids of heroes and villains and princesses and fairy tales, and they're trained to be fairy tale heroes and villains. I'm like, that to me seems like No, they're ordinary boys and girls. They're not. This isn't like Disney's The Descendants, where it's exactly that, where it's the children of famous fairy tale heroes and villains. These are regular boys and girls who go to a school to be trained to be fairy tale heroes or whatever. I don't know. I mean, this is going to seem weird to say, but fairy tales are stories. And I understand there's so many different TV shows and movies now that are bringing these fairy tales to life, but the whole idea behind it doesn't appeal to me, because the idea that you can go to school to become the star of a fairy tale sort of defeats the idea of a fairy tale in the first place, because so often the characters in fairy tales don't know who they are, and that the story is about them discovering their powers or discovering, if you want to consider Star Wars a fairy tale, Luke didn't know about his history or his destiny, and he just thought he was a farm boy working on a moisture farm in the ass end of the world on Tatooine, or the universe. And if he you know what? I went to school to become the hero of Star Wars. Now I'm where I'm supposed to be on Tatooine, waiting for those robots to show up so I can go team up with Ben Kenobi and star in one of the most lucrative franchises ever to hit humanity. I mean, the idea does not appeal to me. Now, again, that said, if, like you said, a simple favor. Simple Plan's a different movie. That's a
very different movie, yeah.
But a simple favor, I really liked it as well, and I think Paul Feig is a very talented filmmaker. Ghostbusters. I don't think I have a holistic problem with Ghostbusters, not because it's gender swapped. I just didn't think it did a really good job of creating that world the way the original did. So I didn't believe it. But this movie, it just seems. I don't know. It seems a little contrived. Like I could see it. It sounds like it's a sketch, like a Saturday Night Live sketch. But as a movie, I mean, look, like with everything, John, I hope it's good. I hope the script starts out as a great script. And I hope they cast it well. And I hope Paul Feig brings what I know he can bring to it. And if he's going to make it, well, I hope it's good. That's all.
I'll tell you what, I'm tempted to jump on Audible and get the audio book of maybe the first one of the series and give it a listen so I can maybe get a sense about what because I don't know, for all I know, the books are fantastic and the story's great. I don't know. And but like you, it just doesn't sound like something's appealed to me. Maybe I'll have to check it out.
I mean, it just seems like they're in this description, it says the past alumni of this school are Cinderella and Snow White, and it's like that kind of, to me, just defeats the whole purpose of those original stories. Like, if you could go to school and become Cinderella, would you want to be like a put upon maid that is, is victimized by stepmother? It's just weird.
I haven't read the book, so I don't know. I mean, maybe it's brilliant. Maybe it's absolutely fantastic, but we'll have to say, question is, guys, are any of you familiar, because clearly Robert and I are not, are any of you familiar with The School for Good and Evil? If so, what do you think of its potential as being transferred into a movie version? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.